All right, we're here with Dennis Johnson, communications assistant with Farmers Feed Cities. Welcome here, Dennis.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and we are talking about a recent survey that Farmers Feed Cities put out. It was a survey taken in early September, and I think it was a total of over 3,000 adults that weighed in. And it was talking about, how Canadians feel about their food, how they value their food, but then, was a bit of a gauge of some of the misconceptions, really, that the public has about where our food comes from and what, some of the ins and outs. Tell me a little bit about some of those misconceptions. What were some of the major ones that you found?
Well, we found a lot of pretty interesting statistics and a lot of quite surprising statistics, actually. To get started, one of the ones that kind of stuck with me the most was we surveyed out of the people we surveyed. We asked them a few questions about egg choices. So, what they think these different eggs actually are and what purchasing decisions they actually make. So, one of the real interesting statistics was 81% of the people surveyed that typically buy free-run eggs thought that the chickens producing those eggs actually had access to the outdoors.
Right.
In reality, that's free-range eggs that have access, or the free-range chickens that have access to the outdoors.
Right.
So it just kind of shows that it's a point where marketing and labeling has gotten a little confusing for some people, and they're not actually sure of what they're buying.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other ones, I found that very interesting. I also found the discussion between local and organic very interesting in that certainly it was over 85%, I think it was, of those surveyed said that they valued buying local. 29% or something like that said that they were interested in buying organic. But what was interesting is there was a disconnect between people understanding that well over 70% of organic food in Canada is imported.
Yes.
So there certainly seems to be, this disconnect between, they're interested in local food and supporting the local food economy, but by buying organic, that actually sort of circumvents that a little bit, which I found interesting anyway. Now, there was also some discussion about the safety of genetically modified foods. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so out of the people we surveyed, less than half actually of the respondents believe that genetically modified food is safe for consumption. And here's another misconception. These foods, these genetically modified foods, they're heavily tested, heavily regulated. We know what they are and what they do. According to Health Canada, it's a 7 to 10 year process to research, test, and assess the safety of a new genetically modified food or seed variety. So we can trust in these regulatory agencies, and we know that these foods are safe. So, just another misconception that was held there. These things are tested, they're safe, they're regulated, and we can trust them.
Yeah, and I will say one of the misconceptions that I come across with some consumers I speak with was reflected in this survey as well, that certainly with our meat and our dairy industry, this perception that there are a lot of artificial hormones, extra antibiotics and vaccines and all these sorts of things used for meat and milk production that are either regulated or not used. In our industries. So I find even, in the discussions I have with consumers, that was definitely one of the misconceptions that I come across as well, and that was definitely reflected in this survey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so no, I guess my question then, as, someone involved in the agriculture industry, what do we do about this? Because I think what's great about this survey is it really, I think, touches on at least 3-4 different points where we're showing a huge discrepancy between reality and perception. And so what do we do? I mean, that's sort of, it's good to have the list, but then how do we change these perceptions?
Well, it starts off on the most basic level. What we need to do as an agriculture industry, as farmers, is to get out there and talk to consumers. We just need to get out there and form these trusting relationships, and in turn form a trust over our products, and a knowledge of what our product actually is. So there's definitely a responsibility here for people in the ag industry and farmers themselves to get out there and talk about what they're doing, talk about what they're growing, and assure people we produce good quality food in the ag industry.
Now, tell me a bit about Farmers Feed Cities and what maybe your organization is doing and has done to start or to help spread that message.
Sure. Well, we have two mandates. As we're an Ontario-based organization, we're committed to increasing the awareness of the importance of Ontario's farmers and of the agriculture industry as a whole. We eat food 3 times a day. We put fuel in our cars that has ethanol in it. Agriculture and agri-food actually, as of quite recently, is the largest industry in Ontario now. So it's something that's so large and it impacts us every day. It's something we should be aware of and we should appreciate. And on the other hand, I guess kind of the next step there is we aim to bridge the gap between rural and urban society through some awareness efforts, through some educational efforts, just try to increase the understanding of the journey from farm to fork, really, and give people, I guess, less than 2% of Canada's population live on farms now. So there is a need to get out there and let people know what's going on our farms and what we're doing in the ag industry. So that's I guess that in a nutshell is kind of what we're about.
And what role do you see things like blogs, websites, Twitter, Facebook, social media, those sorts of things kind of taking in some of this?
I'm a huge fan, a huge proponent of social media. It's such an easy way for people on the ground level to get out there and share their stories, share their day-to-day goings on, especially for again, farmers and people in the ag industry. I've seen a huge explosion in the last couple of years of these people getting out there and using social media, and it's a good way to overcome geographical barriers or any other barriers that might be and kind of bridge urban and rural society. So it's definitely a great resource, and I encourage everyone in the industry to get out there and do it. It's a very easy and effective way to share a story.
Absolutely, agreed. Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. We'll touch base later and kind of see as the year goes on. We'll see if we can't change some of these misconceptions.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for having me.